time.
Long time, brother. Hey, how's everything going with you today?
I forgot. I was almost about to say I can't say that on radio. I'm just disappointed, man. I'm looking at this. 90% of people don't care. City of Cleveland and Cuyahoga County, 90%.
When you say 90% of the people don't care, what do you mean by that?
Today is election day, and I'm looking at this data as of 11:58. We're showing a 4% turnout in Cleveland, and the largest turnout right now is in Cleveland Heights. So in Cleveland Heights, 88% of the people don't care. But in the city I live in, 96% of the people just don't care.
Before we jump into people not caring and all of that, you just go right to the
I go
jump.
right to it. But you ask me how I'm feeling. I ain't feeling good, man. I'm not feeling good.
It's the day just got started. The election
man, it's 12
day
o'clock.
It just got started. Let's give some real breakdowns. Let's talk about, first of all, the fact that we know that elections are not happening all around the city. So when we talk about voter turnout, we talk about the things that inspire people to want to get out there and vote. And we all know that it takes a lot of resources for people to be able to vote and turn out voters, getting that message out, letting people know about it. And when we're talking about communities that are disenfranchised, such as Cleveland, and a lot of major area in Cleveland, that's one of them. So some of the things of why, let's talk about that before we get into this stuff. The why. Now, we know that this election season right now is a primary here in the city of Cleveland, just like it is in other places. And there's not a lot of things that are contested here in the city this year, right? Now, the mayor doesn't have a race. The mayor has no primary. His race is until November. A few weeks from now, his race, and things along those lines are going to steam up and pick up, I would imagine, then. Most council members in the city of Cleveland doesn't have primary elections this year, which means that we're only down to a certain group of folks who do have primaries that we need to look at. And so with that being the case, why don't you update the people about some of those first, Mr. Numbers Man, before you start smacking everybody over the head. That was your thing when you was in council, man. You Ron Artest, you got to settle down, Gene. Come on now.
Nah, when it comes down, men lie, women lie, but data don't lie. So I understand what you're saying. But right now, you're absolutely correct.
Okay.
In our city right now, in the city of Cleveland, we only have 7 races for 7 races that there actually have council persons running with opponents. Only the top 2 go on to the general on November 4th. So if you go into details, for example, Cleveland Ward 1, they're on the ballot today. Cleveland Ward 5, Ward 7, 8, 9, 12, and Ward 3 on the ballot today. And that's all council, like you said today.
So let's take a look at some of the ones that do have races. Let's break some of those down and what you're saying they look like and how those numbers are counting out and what you think people are trying to do with those.
It's funny because on Facebook yesterday, I put down my estimate. Like, man, the DJ, we were talking about this upcoming fight was going back and forth about who going to win. I put down between 5 and 10% turnout. To me, voting is a habit. So right now at 12:03, it's a 4% turnout. So if you're in Cleveland Ward 1, that's the southeast side. Councilman Joe Jones is at right now 5% turnout.
So let's talk about who's in that race. Let's talk about the Ward 1 race. That's what I want to break them down, race by race.
So in Ward 1, you have the incumbent, Joe Jones. He's been the councilman. And then you have other persons. And then maybe the top 2 would be State Representative Brent,
Juanita
Brent. And I don't really know all the rest of the persons in the race, but likelihood those would be the top 2 persons. So right now, for example, absentees, about 566 people returned their ballot. And at the day of election, so far only 336 Ward 1, the mighty Ward 1, historically been the strongest black turnout in the east side. Only 5% people turned out right now.
Only 5% of the people in Ward 1 is turned out for that particular race. And that race, I believe, have about 4 people in there. One of them is, at least like we were talking about, Councilman Joe Jones. And we had State Representative Juanita Brent. Juanita Brent is term limited, which
Correct.
means that she has, at the end of her term this year, she is out of office and will need a new place to be able to either stay in politics or find her a job, all right? And then you have Joe Jones, who is the incumbent, who is running for re-election.
Correct.
And Joe Jones is in a bit of a quandary with a lot of different issues that's taking place with him.
That's true.
And matter of fact, he's dealing with one that's coming up, I believe, on the 15th, where they're talking about censure. Me and you were talking about censored and being censored as a council person and that kind of thing. And I know that you were in council And you were down there doing a few different types of crazy ordeals that were taking place down there in council and that kind of thing. What's your view on this censorship and a councilman being censored and that kind of thing?
When I was in council, we had one of my former members had some issues outside of council, and they wanted to pull the rule to remove him from council. I remember our president, I wasn't for that. I didn't agree with a lot of things going outside of council because we all live in glass houses, but I wouldn't have voted to have him removed. I probably took heat from that, but I think the residents out in Ward 1, right now, they're going to decide Joe Jones' fate. If they believe in Joe Jones, they're going to vote him in or vote him out. To answer your question, I'm for letting the people do that. Like the people of Ward 10, they voted me in and they voted me out. So I believe in letting the people decide that.
So you believe that the situation that he's going through, because in the situation that you're talking to, that was somebody who did something outside of council.
Correct.
The thing that the councilman this time is being accused of is stuff that actually happened, they're saying, within council, and it was a problem within council, and that was the issue. Will that change your view on that? Do you believe that there's, at some point, that you have to be accountable for the things that you do?
Yeah, at some point, you got to be accountable. You got to have certain policies in places because you're working with everybody is working for the government, and there should be some kind of policy. But you can censor the person. That don't stop me from doing my job. It just makes it a little harder. Don't look good on your record. But he just need to take care of his business. He's been fortunate to be in office. And Joe, this is his third time running, and he just gotta chill out and take care of your business, man. I know Joe, and he might call me up after this. What you talk about chilling out? Hey, man, you gotta follow. Hey, it's a blessing to be in office, and he's been elected, and now he got a formidable opponent. And I try to go with data. Tomorrow it's gonna be Councilman Joe Jones and Miss Brent in the finals, and now he gonna have to work because she gonna bring it to him, and hopefully, whatever happened down there in City Hall, the policies, the president and the rest of the members, because I'm pro-elected. Time I get beat up about, you gotta follow the rules.
I think you have to follow the rules.
You gotta follow the rules.
I believe that there's some things to add into his side of the thing and to others also. I think that there's some jobs that you work in, and the environment requires you to work at a certain type of level.
Yes, you gotta. Yeah, some violence are toxic.
And when I say that level is a level of professionalism that they expect from the employers, but the employers also expect a certain level of expertise.
Correct.
And you being able to do what you say you there to do.
Because when I worked in the courts, and they will always remind me, you work for the pleasure, the privilege of the judges. When you in council, you work for the privilege of the council. Outside people don't want to hear that, but you work for the elected officials in there because it's a privilege to do that.
Because sometimes when you look at certain things, there's certain aspects of it where when you work for performers, actors, presidents, even Congress,
Even working for you.
Even working for
sometimes
me.
I want to just throw you. I'm like, man, I don't want to hear this today, man.
Yeah, we expect because people expect a certain thing from me. So if you want to get a reputation of people can rely on you when they call you to do something, then the people who I deal with, I got to rely on them to do what they do when I call them. Because Cristals is calling me for a reason. He can call Eugene and get the runaround, but he calling me because he said, I want the truth and I need it done. So I can't afford it. So with that, I'm saying all that to say that I believe in the workplace, the people that work and put themselves in that position understand that. I think when you get to people who work in D.C., on Capitol Hill, when you get in people who work in Hollywood and entertainment and other places like that, is what they accept. They want that. When they say, Cristals, I want this pizza at 12 o'clock at night, they want it.
Yep.
And they want him to go get it. And so I ain't saying that council should be that way, but I believe that the people that work there should understand the atmosphere in which they're getting into. So therefore, you may require to have a little thicker skin.
Yeah, because I remember when I was in the State House, Congresswoman at the time, Leader Beatty, used to tell me, I don't care about the labor pains. Just bring me the baby. And she's a woman. She didn't care about all that stuff. Well, I want.
Yeah. So I think that's very interesting on that. And Councilman going to have to deal with that.
He's got to deal with with it.
And his people, I hope he reaching out to all of them and they figure out what they're going to do with that. That's going to be interesting. And people, we're going to keep y'all posted on it as it unfolds. So trust me, that's going to be something else we follow back up. So I want to continue to talk about one thing. We're going to close on this one thing because we got 1 minute to a break here. But I wanted to also, in Ward 1, Joe has always been a very good campaigner. The people out there and everything is always seem to be 100% behind him. He's really good on the ground at what he does with that. We saw that when they tried to redo the Democratic endorsement and took that back, and they redid the vote. And in fact, he gained 2 votes. People who wasn't there actually decided to come this time, and they voted, and it came out in his favor big time. So I believe he's solid. And my prediction is, like you said, it'll be him and Juanita.
No question.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit about his opponent because that's one of my favorite people, and I got something for that. So we're going to talk about that right after this break.
Cleveland, this is your show, your topics, and your voice. Join in for What's on Your Mind Tuesday on 95.9 FM WOVU. Call in or comment on social media. Let's make this conversation unforgettable. Streaming live on WOVU.org.
Support for WOVU comes from the Alzheimer's Association.
In the fight against Alzheimer's, now matters more than ever because now we have treatments, so now we seize the moment. Now we make a difference and make some noise at the Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's, held in communities like yours nationwide. Join the fight at alz.org/walk.
Get ready, Cleveland. It's your turn to speak up. Call in and tell us what's on your mind. Join the Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell radio show on 95.9 FM WOVU or stream live at WOVU.org. Let's make your voice count. Let's go.
All right, we're back. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Ward 1 and what's going out there in Ward 1. Eugene, what's the
Nothing's
number?
going on
Nothing
out there.
Did anything increase
Hey,
since our
90
last break, brother? Did we
didn't
get
like
one
the
vote?
word,
Did one
but
more person go out to vote?
95% of people saying, hey, that's
We still
between
at
you
90.
all. 1,000 people is going to decide the fate of Joe Jones. So when people do all that talking, 95% of people at home, I ain't thinking about it. Who cares? So right now, 343 people on Election Day have voted. And one more thing while I got the voting. There are people who have ballots outstanding on their kitchen table, don't return them.
That's one of the big things now. We know that there's a large number, especially in Ward 5. Now, we're going to get to Ward 5. We're located here in Ward 5, and our goal for today's program, and I'm hoping that all the other DJs along today, we trying to get as many folks as we can to get out there and vote today, and especially in Ward 5. Ward 5 is a really very interesting race that's taking place here between Councilman Richard Starr and his opponent, and we need you guys to get out there and vote today and get out there and make sure you do it. There's a lot, as he said, there's about over 200 absentee ballots in just Ward 5 alone that has not been returned. That means you guys got your ballot sitting on your table, you got your ballot sitting somewhere in your mailbox, your stack of mail that you didn't get out. So you need to get those ballots out, or you need to try to get to your voting location and vote. If you requested, come on, Cristal. If you requested a absentee ballot and you haven't, and you got it, but you want to vote today, you can still vote. You can still go to your polling location. You may tell them, they may give you a provisional, but if that's the case, at least you got your vote in. You just didn't sit it there. That vote will count. So again, if you got that ballot sitting on your table and you say, you know what, I meant to do it, don't make that a discouragement. Take your ballot, go over to your polling location and vote in. Cristal, what you got for us?
I want to pivot the conversation, but as part of the conversation is, why it's been going on for the last, since the station been going on here. Voting always been low in the city of Cleveland. And I think it's a big disconnect of what's voting about and how does it affect the people. Because if you talk to the people, they're like, how does it affect me right now? Like right now, this moment, I need something to affect me right now. If they don't see the change or effect or anything that happened in their lives, they're just going to keep it moving.
That's been the biggest thing. That's been the thing that, people
we don't know the answer.
People want something, like you say, it's tangible. What can I get out of it? And I was just talking to my wife this morning about it, the stuff that's going on now with the administration, with Donald Trump and all these other stuff. It ain't enough to make you feel as if your vote meant anything anyway. And let's keep it real. Now, you look at what's going on, it's really bad. And people look at it. There's some people who look at it and be like, hey, it didn't help. And I can see that, especially people that's in a place of despair. And if you're in a place of despair, and when we talk about the area that we're in, and we talk about the city that we live in, we talk about the population, we talk about the education, we talk about the economics, and when we put all of those factors on the scale, then you realize why our people are not voting.
You look at it right now, because I try to look at the whole, in the city of Lakewood, 5% turnout. Garfield Heights, 6%. East Cleveland, 6%.
That's everywhere.
It's not just our wonderful city of Cleveland, but in Ward 5, we were just talking about 130 people have gotten up to go vote. 3% turnout.
It's not funny to laugh, but
97% of the people I just use it. Don't care. We got to talk about that fight, right?
Yeah.
How many people going to tune in for that fight? You and I are fight fans.
Yeah.
The other people don't show up. They don't care.
Oh, we could get more people to talk about that fight in the
or
next
the
5
field
minutes
goals,
than we
the 2 missed field goals.
Yeah, you get more people to talk about the Cleveland Browns wake up on a Monday morning upset. I could go on my Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and they going on a whole. These people are experts, coaches.
Why number 12 not playing? He a 5th-round draft pick.
Yeah,
But right now, I keep refreshing. Like, hopefully, it's going to change. I'm sitting here, and I just tell you, but also about the incumbents, though. That means any of them could be taken out, though.
Yeah.
Well, people keep saying that. Anybody could be taken, but
97%
taken out with what? Like, what are you being taken out with? You going to split the other 131 votes?
What I do know is this. We're talking about the eastern part of Cleveland, and I'm a West Side. I grew up on the West Side. My whole family on the East, but my mom moved to the West Side. So I see both perspectives of how it's going. I always say this. I say, you know why them guys on the West Side don't get voted out? Because they make it happen over there. And they know if they don't, somebody's going to come in and take it. Like if it's a pothole in the street, say, I need that fixed, Casey and them will get that fixed tomorrow.
It's an open seat in Ward 7. Right now, Ward 7 is a 4% turnout. So right now, 437 people have voted in Ward 7, which is the West Side.
Yeah.
Ward 12.
Who is Ward 7?
Ward 7 is going to be, it's an open seat. I got to get
that's the open seat.
That's the open seat.
Yeah, that's
but right now, where
that's
there's
brand new. Where's that at? Where's that area?
That got to be Jenny Spencer's seat, I believe.
Yeah.
What area on the West Side?
That's near.
I don't say West anymore.
That's West Spencer. I think is used to be
by the lake.
Used to be Lake Avenue. And over in that area.
Yeah, I can understand why. It's
and
that
but then
way.
And you can understand we get into the economics of what I'm talking about.
And in Ward 12, where the councilman is Danny Kelly at, it's a 4% turnout with 323 people are voting it right now.
But he's in, to your point, another West Side ward in a tough race.
Yeah.
He got a better opponent. I want to go back to Ward 1.
Okay, let's go back to Ward 1.
I want to go back to Ward 1.
It's still 5% turnout.
Still 5% turnout. And
the highest turnout in the city right now.
And this to your point, Cristal, when we talk about our candidates and the people and why people get it done. We talked about what Joe Jones is going through in his situation. But his opponent that he's running against, Juanita Brent, she got some baggage of her own, too, that's pretty bad. Now, when we get down to our state representative out there, she was just involved in a situation where she was in a lawsuit from a former state representative who accused and wrote a police report that this dude was harassing her and just writing love letters or all kinds of craziness to her that went to court. And he had to go to court to actually get this stuff taken out to get his name clear. So again, now when we talk about the people in these areas that's running for these offices, look at what you got to compare yourself to. To your point of where do I go? Now, to me, I look at the Joe Jones situation and say, hey, this brother is getting, what's the word they saying, censured from his colleagues because of what he said. But this sister actually went and filed a police report and tried to put this brother in jail. I think it's two different situations, different things, and it's two different extremes. So, again, the people in Ward 1, y'all got a tough decision to make.
Not y'all, only 5%. 95% saying I believe that to y'all.
Because
that's why, Cristal.
I really believe its impact. Like, how does any of this impact the neighborhood?
And that's what they feel.
So I remember Sweeney, because I grew up in the West Park area. And Sweeney, I remember I was young when he was over there. Something happened with our hoops. Something was going on. I don't know. I say, man, he lived literally across the park from my house. So we could walk over to his house and knock on his door. He's there. Besides, they'll get past the police car. I say, something going on with this, with that. Literally, the next day, it was done. You don't think that at me at a 12-year-old? Oh, it's like I could ask him anything and it gets done when it pertains to me. I think people want to see that.
Speaking of Sweeney, he's another brother got in trouble and never got censored neither.
Yeah, he never. Sweeney was crazy.
But you still.
He never got censored
And so to your part,
That's
not to
another
cut you off,
crazy
to
one.
your part is, don't you think once people start seeing things done, does it raise the vote? They'd be like, oh, yeah, my man's did come over and fix this, or he did show this.
There's history that shows.
I'm just asking.
There's history that shows
I
that
wouldn't
there's
know.
been council people who does very good jobs over the years that people learn to depend on and say, hey, that, and they done had their moments and where they do it. And here's where I'm getting at with that. They can do it, come in the office, make an effect, be that guy, but then they want to sit in that position so long that they continue to be there and never deal out. Perfect example, the legendary Kenn Johnson. Kenn Johnson came in, great council member. He came in at one point he had a good reign. When I say a good reign, he had a good reign for about 10 years, maybe 15. Now, he's there a lot longer than that. The good reign was when he first got in there. He bought a lot of trucks from the city. He was able to, you wouldn't call the city for help. You can call him. He would come out and send his crew. That's good counsel. That's doing what you're saying. Just as the years go on, you be there longer and longer, stuff starts to change. You got to adapt, things of that nature. And as a result of that being there, as long as he did, he got into some situation that made all of that fall null and void to a point that nobody looks at it as being a good thing anymore. So there are that element where you have those council people who jump in and they really do good work for a certain period of time, but then they leave. On the west side, they do get a little bit more help, and over the years they got more help because of them being the people that were in office mainly and having the connections to the right folks in the city to get stuff done.
But even with these numbers, though, you're still supposed to vote.
Yeah.
Regardless, you're not going to always get what you're looking for. Right now, in Ward 8, that's the new Stephanie House Jones is the councilwoman. It's a 2% turnout. Even if you don't get what you want, you still exercise your right to vote.
Absolutely.
I may not get what I want on Friday but I'm still gonna watch it.
Absolutely.
You watch the Browns, you don't get your victories all the time, but you still tune
Victories.
in.
Huh?
Victories. We don't get victories. We get victories.
Not a Brown fan.
I mean, you still
me
watch it.
chime
though.
in.
Oh,
we
we got Pastor Aaron Phillips in the house. Cristals, you stay with us. Go
You
ahead.
still
Chris.
get it.
Go ahead, Chris.
Can anybody find the statistics of voting 25 years ago?
Well, that's
Oh,
not
it's going to be better.
Let
Let me
me
just say,
I'm going to tell you why it'll be better.
But that's what I'm saying, though.
It'll
Can
be
anybody
better
find-
because it was more people in the city, period. It was a lot more people.
Yes,
and 25 years ago, people were a lot more engaged.
And because you had different leadership also. It takes the leadership also. And right now, we know, because this is what we do as an election. We all into it. I can't wait to see the turnout, the results. You got to.
And I don't mean to cut you off. There really is something to say that people do want to know what you can do for me. It really is. Back 25 years ago, to your point, Chris, that you could go to your councilman and get a job with the city. You could go to an elected official and get a job. People in their families actually were involved in politics because they say, go see your Uncle Aaron. Aaron got a hookup with and he can get you a job. It was that kind of thing. And when you got the job, people knew that it was a hook. It was that. All of that is gone. There's no way that the elected officials, they took all of that kind of stuff away as things changed to make things more better. And as that being a result, it took away the fact that people at least are a lot less engaged in wanting to help.
can we add something?
Go ahead.
Because I know y'all have been talking for a moment. Let's also remember, voting is hard. This is a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday.
Come on,
why don't
Reverend.
we vote on? Why don't we
You had
vote?
30
Hold on a
days.
second.
You had early
Hold
vote
on. Let
for
me
30
finish.
days.
Let him
Let me
finish.
finish,
Come on
man.
now.
Let me
Let him get
finish.
his point
Seriously,
out.
let me
Let him get his
finish.
point out.
We don't make voting easy. We do it on a Tuesday all day long. Why can't you vote with your phone? Think of all of what you are saying is true, but there's also a factor. We make it. It seems to me that the system wants to make it a low voter turnout.
grandparents had it hard,
Why
Reverend.
can't we?
Our
Times
grandparents.
okay.
had
25 years ago, they had it hard.
Come on
That's
now,
not
man.
the same. Okay, I'm just telling you. Everything else has become easy to do except voting. Let's just tell the
30
truth.
days. The general starts on October 7th.
boy
You can
wants-
start voting for the general October 7th. Yeah, going out there with the other reverend.
No.
Go on out
I'm
there.
gonna tell you. I want to. Billy, we can make voting a lot easier.
Oh, man.
We can make registration.
I agree, but
it
ain't that hard enough.
We
Why
can
we
make
gotta
registration a lot
No,
easier.
no, come on, man.
We could do a lot. Yeah, we
I'm
could.
being rude to
No,
you.
The system
I
could.
know. I
The
agree with you.
system
but
could do a lot better
I'm not
in
saying-
making it more convenient.
I don't
to vote.
agree with that's why they're not voting. Yes, it could be easier, but that's not a reason. Not
Definitely
at all.
not the cell phone.
Not it's definitely and you definitely
Okay.
getting on these
Okay.
cryptids.
Well,
over
you're
cell
seeing
phone.
you're seeing the result. It can't be.
If you
it's
could
a-
bot up the streaming for music, you could bot up votes.
And you know what? By me being a
Right.
data guy, it's crazy. And I don't want to tell people business, but I look at my peers from around. Some of them don't vote. Some of these activists who be calling you up, they don't vote. I can look at your voter. It's a public record. And when people I be around, I be like,
That's true.
I ain't going to diss you in
be
person.
going around.
Yeah, I be checking your record.
You looking up my
It's
public
some-
record voting record? What's my record?
It's cats,
What's my
man,
record?
who used to antagonize me when I was a councilman. I look like this dude don't vote, but I ain't going to say nothing.
It's a lot that does that.
It's a lot of them. They out here raising all this cane, and they don't vote.
It's a lot, and I think if at some point you're gonna get into the shooting downtown, and I'm looking at it online, and these people, yes, the mayor, this and this and this, and I just sit back and say, I guarantee none of you guys voted. I will promise you, none of you voted.
It's a public record.
That you're complaining about something you didn't vote for. You can't say he needs to get out, or you can't say somebody needs to get out if you're not doing your part voting. If you didn't vote, then what is there for you to say?
Okay. I want to make this point that Rabbi just reminded me of. There was a time when people took off work. There was no working on voting day. There's a lot to people. Times are different. People's lives are different, and I don't think we ought to be criticizing the voter, but we also need to be criticizing the system.
You got 30
There's
days
a lot of
early,
things.
Reverend, 30 days to go vote.
Really?
And in our city,
How many people know
in the city
that?
of Cleveland,
How many people know that?
Well, if they
People don't know
that.
that.
Ignorance.
We're
is
not
an
marketing
excuse.
that.
Ignorance
We
is
don't-
not
we don't
an
market
excuse.
We're
We're
not.
cards.
Okay,
We
but
don't market
but
free
we know. But I
JC
tell you
concert.
what, you know about the fight. There's a market about the fight. Is there a market? Is there anybody on social media? I have seen nobody.
We all get a
Hold on
letter.
a second. Hold
We
on.
get a
Give me a
letter.
second.
Aaron, you're not
How
a good
many
social
people?
media person. You know
I know.
that.
So
That-
how
you
many
can't
people
say
have
that.
seen on social media? You have 30 days to vote.
There's
We
a
all
lot
get a
of
letter in
people.
the mail.
Is that on social
We get a
media
letter
right
in the
now?
mail.
Yeah, there was stuff on social media. Yes,
listen,
there was,
So
there was.
to you to explain why it's not that. To explain to you, it is one of the candidates to tell you that, right? The city or whoever running, they do tell you that, and the information is out there for you that. To get somebody to
What
market that,
candidates tell that?
none of this stuff is private. And candidates tell you it's early. They tell you from the beginning it's early vote at this time.
Don't you put that on your
Yeah,
literature?
of course.
Matter of
course I
fact,
can.
matter
I'm
of fact,
talking about
this
I'm talking
radio
about the
station.
system.
This radio station said
I got a letter from the
got
county.
2 ads that says voting.
That's what I'm
early.
saying. It's out there.
The information is out there to
It's
vote
out there.
early. Now, are you going to do it? No. When you go to the schools, some schools have the pamphlets.
Okay, now remember,
Vote
early
early.
voting means you have to go to the Board of
You get
Elections.
it mailed to your house.
No, that's mail-in voting. I'm talking about if you do early voting, you have to
All of
leave your
that's early
you got to
voting.
leave your neighborhood and go downtown.
All of
to
that's
early
early
voting.
In
voting.
1965,
Okay,
they
so
ain't
you
have
have to
nothing.
know that, and you have to, and we're not doing a very good job of
In
marketing
1965,
that. Thank
our
you, Rabbi.
grandparents
That
None
is
of
not
that
the
stuff.
reason why people are not voting, and I'm
Yes.
not giving.
There are
them
many.
that.
There's several
That's
reasons.
one
reason.
reason.
There are
That's-
several
yeah,
reasons.
but
There's
that's
no
about
lot
it.
of reasons.
That's
If there
about
was
it.
one single reason why
Yeah.
people didn't vote, we could solve this
All right,
problem.
well,
so we
that-
need to add that. All of that needs
We
to
can
be
throw
added.
that in there.
96%
We can throw
don't
that
care
in.
in Cleveland.
A lot. It boils
don't
down.
care.
And why are we
Let's-
voting on-
Let's move on to the next city. Let's
All right.
go on to Cleveland Heights. What's happening
Okay,
up
the
there?
great
going on in
Cleveland
Cleveland
Heights.
Cleveland Heights.
So this was going on in Cleveland Heights. If you live in Cleveland Heights, you know what's going on. Right now, there's an eligible 35,000 people can vote. Right now, only 13% of voting.
Oh, we leading the charge.
Y'all leaving the charge
We
in
leading
Cleveland
the
Heights, the
charge.
great
That's what I'm
Cleveland
talking
Heights.
about. We leading- Now, the leading the charge is probably the great recall.
The recall is leading the charge because right now,
We got a recall on the
2,400
ballot. They
people
trying
in
to get
Cleveland
rid of the
Heights
mayor.
are out there going to the polls.
They trying to get rid of the mayor out there, and they
Right.
got an election there where they bringing in council. We got council races, I think, and we have a mayor's race that's on the ballot.
Correct.
And we have a recall, Mayor Khalil. They want to recall him. We only got a couple of months left. They thought they'd let the brother
want him
finish
out.
out the term. They want him out.
That makes no sense.
It's really bad, and I really feel bad for him and his family because he got that target on him, man, that you can't win. It seemed like you saying the system and everything seemed to be just like coming down on you. It seemed like everything is coming down. That brother can't do nothing at this point up there.
Is Cleveland Heights trying to reclaim themselves back?
To what? What you trying to say?
Well, I'm just saying because the demographic of Cleveland Heights is changing.
To that point now.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I don't understand. What do you mean? That's changing. Speak some truth there, brother. What do you mean?
No,
we're trying to figure out what you're trying to say, Chris.
Yeah, what you
No,
trying to say?
the Cleveland Heights wasn't the Cleveland Heights what I seen growing up. It's a different demographic of Cleveland Heights. It's different people moving into Cleveland Heights. It's not a lot of homeowners moving into Cleveland Heights. It's a lot more renters moving into Cleveland Heights. We talk about Section 8 and everything else. Remember, these people who were living in King Kennedy projects and everything else, who live in these project housing that they're knocking down, they got to go to somewhere.
They ain't voting though.
They
back there renting, going to Home Depot.
That's what goes back to you.
Yeah.
That goes back to the vote. That swings back around to that. And I'm just asking.
They voting in Cleveland Heights.
I'm just asking. A lot of that thing, your demographics.
To your point, is the demographics changing?
Not just Cleveland Heights, Garfield Heights, and Maple Heights.
Definitely, the demographics is changing in Cleveland Heights. Is there some reclaiming back? We did a program and we had the mayor in on our podcast, and we talked about that, Cristals. And one of the things we talked about was the fact that he felt and others felt as if Cleveland Heights had some type of, I called it more cliquish than it is a racist. You know, I think there's big cliques of folks in the area, and it's not necessarily a bad thing neither. It's just they represent who they represent, and Cleveland Heights is a melting pot of those. And if you're not a person who can get into all of those various different places and run through that, it's difficult. And in doing that, it makes it very hard for you to be who you truly are, to me. Because you have to be so much to everybody else because of all these cliques. How can you truly be who you are and be successful? And I think that's what the issue is. And we'll see how it works out up there in Cleveland Heights. But to that point, you say we got voting.
It's 13% turnout.
13%. So let's go back to the beginning. It was more than changing the voting day or Tuesday, whatever. What is the climate of this politics period, and how do people look at politics?
I look at I run marathons. You got to get ready for 26 and 28. If you don't really like Trump and you don't like what's going on, just already projecting that come presidential time, you're the same type of turnout. You exercise the muscle.
It really is.
You just vote. That's all it is.
But Eugene, that's my whole point. I wasn't finished making my point. One, vote is an inconvenience. Also, we're not educating people. Do you go to school now? They're not teaching you about the different forms of government, the executive branch, the judicial branch. When?
Wait a minute, hold on.
That is not taught.
No, I do the data.
That is not.
That's basic government, Phillips.
They do not teach that in school anymore, Ken.
It ain't just the little
They
young
do not.
ones.
They do not. They'll tell you.
Not voting either. 96%
Education.
of people.
Okay, you can be an old fool and a young fool. You can be if you're uneducated. People don't know. The other thing, we don't. You know why we don't educate people about voting? Because we just only talk about it when it's voting season. What we need to educate people on, voting numbers matter with everything. Economics, they determine where houses are built. They determine what businesses come in. All of that is determined based on voting numbers. Most people don't know that. We have to do a better job, me included, is educating our people. Why are we waiting until this is the day of election and we're all on the mic talking about how much people aren't voting? We should be talking about that way before the day of election, like you're saying. We should be getting ready for, if we were smart, we should be getting ready for 26 right now.
But it's educated people saying they don't give a damn. 96% of the people,
evidently they're not educated.
With doctor degrees and PhDs.
They are.
And regular people
just
don't
because
care.
I'm talking about being educated about why we need to vote.
They are.
I'm not talking about. I'm
They don't
educated
wanna vote.
on why
They don't
we
wanna
need to
vote.
vote.
They
I'm not
don't
saying
want-
that you have to
They-
have
hold on.
I'm not saying you got to have a doctor's
Can we-
degree. Hold
can-
on, be clear. I'm not saying you have to have a doctor's degree to vote. You have to know
Tell
why
me, we get all
voting
that.
is so
We
important.
get all that. Let me ask you this. Can we all agree that there's a thing that you have a right to not vote?
Exactly. You got a
Okay?
right to not
You
vote.
have a right to not vote, okay? And so when we get into all of this why and everything else, there's some people who just woke up and said, I'm not voting
I don't
today
give a damn.
because I don't care. I don't care who the councilman is. I don't want to get involved in what's going on with that. Neither one of them in this Ward 1 race look like somebody I want to vote for in some cases, or I'm going to stick with the guy who I've been here with. It's the same old stuff. There's nothing new on there. Now, that's why I started out the show by saying the things that start off new. If the mayor was running for office, it'll be a whole new tune out here.
If he had a contested race.
If he had a contested race,
Yeah.
if somebody was running against Justin Bibb, it'll be, and here's why. Justin Bibb activates actually another group of voters in the city of Cleveland, which are the young millennials and some of these people who are now the same group of people, Phillips, and we did a program, was the ones that said what I'm going to do when it was time to protest and everything else, what they said they wanted to do. They wanted to sit down. Remember, don't go out there and do nothing. We're going to sit down. You got a generation of people out here who don't believe in the fight. I was talking to Lenny Powell this morning or a few days ago, and we talked about, they were saying when Donald Trump's come into some of these cities with these things, what's going to happen? I said, you think the YNs is going to fight these guys? They ain't going to fight. All the fighters done got old. We ain't getting out there fighting no more. All the protesters, the fighters, and the people who will say you need to get out there and vote, the ones who willing to still knock up on the doors, to your point, to make people get out there and vote today, we done got old. If we relying on what's happening now, this is what you got going, and that's what's sad to me.
You know, what's also sad is that the taxpayers paying for this election today.
Yeah.
The taxpayers are paying. Let's look at East Cleveland.
That's a good point.
East Cleveland
That's
got
a good point,
10,000
Eugene.
eligible voters in East Cleveland. Right now, only 350 people vote for the top 2 mayor candidates.
And that probably cost us.
I mean,
I don't, you know what?
That's a good point.
I'm going to tell you.
I like that point.
Eugene, when you come back to the show, you need to go and find out what did this election cost us. And we're going to figure out what it cost us versus the amount of people that voted.
Yes.
And we're going to say how much it cost. Because I was talking to somebody, man, and I even hate to say this on the line, but they said if only 1,000 people come out to vote, and these candidates are spending $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 to run for office.
Exactly.
You better off standing at the polls with gift cards, just giving everybody $20 when they walk in.
Because right now in Cleveland,
it only costs you $1,000.
1,900 in our city right now. Only 1,900 people.
I always say there's an easier way, it's a cheaper way to do it.
It only costs you $1,000.
I can tell these guys on the entertainment or hustle CDs before, because I'm telling you, I don't need to spend that much money to get the word out.
If we only talking 1,000 people, what is going
1,800
on?
people voted today so far in the city of Cleveland. 1,800 people.
Wow.
1,800 people. That's it.
Wow.
And in Cleveland Heights, they got 35,000.
It is only 12 o'clock. It is only 12. We'll see at 7.
And what is that usually?
We'll see at 7.
What does the vote count usually? Eugene, your numbers person.
We got to flash back. He would have to go back to the last council race.
Yeah.
We did that earlier. We would have had that for you, Phil. That's a good question. But again, we know turnout is low. And we just ragging a little bit. And we knew turnout was going to be low. We didn't think it would be this doggone low.
Come on.
But we knew it was going to be low.
It is low.
And to that point, like we said, there's a lot of things that's not on the ballot. There's a lot of things that's not driving people out. But the one thing I do want to say before we get out of here, how much time we got left?
You got time.
Look at the Monty Tarblooders.
I just want to make sure.
280.
I want to go back to the
got
Ward
13
5
minutes.
because it's important to me because this radio station sits here in the community of Ward 5. And it's a community event project that's supported by a lot of council members and others, not just the councilman here, but others support this station. And it's important. So I really want the people of this community and people who listen, if you're in any of these cities, it's an election, like we said, all over Cuyahoga County. It is. If you're in Richmond Heights, if you're in Cleveland Heights, if you're in Cleveland, check your area. Your councilman may not have a race this year, right? Not this year, but in this primary, but he has one in November. Phillips, before we want to talk a little bit about the race you're involved in. We got a citywide court race that's going on for housing court.
I think that's the hottest race, citywide race.
No, it ain't the hottest. I got the hottest coming up.
I said citywide.
Okay.
Citywide.
Yeah, citywide.
Citywide.
I'll give you that.
All right.
I'll give you that.
I think we're the hottest citywide race. We know we are supportive of candidate Cheryl Woodshire. She's running for Cleveland Housing Court. No, we can't say that.
No, you
okay.
can't say none of that stuff on the radio, man. What's wrong with you?
I didn't know that. They put a disclaimer. I didn't know. Just like people don't know. You got to educate people. You got to let me know. Put a post
you
up
should
here.
know that.
I don't know that. How should I know that?
How am I going to take your mic from you, man? You can't speak.
To grab the mic.
Censored.
I'll be like the councilman is being censored. You got to let me know. That's his whole thing. You got to let me know.
If I would have known you would support somebody, I would have said, "Hey, you can't do that from the gate."
Say that.
That's okay. That's all.
No.
Listen, the point is, yes, that is a citywide race. It's a hot race. We need to all be concerned about that. I think one of the things that is driving the vote voter turnout so low is because there's not a hot, really race, because even that race is, you're talking about housing court. So housing court is a limited jurisdiction. As much as I'm involved in it, I'm very involved, but it is hard. It's hard to raise money. It's hard to get people excited about it because it's housing court. You go to housing court if you're a property owner or if you're getting evicted. So most people and most property owners, if I own my house, I'm not going to housing court, so there's not a lot of excitement around it. But the fact that there's a contested, hotly contested race.
The big deal about it is what? It's only what, 1 or 2 in the state.
There's
of Ohio?
2 in the state. 2 in the state of Ohio, and our housing court was one of the first housing court. And usually nobody really has the opposition in housing court. When you get that job, you keep that job. Pianca had that job for 20 plus years. He retired. He actually died before he got ready to retire. Usually it's something that goes really smoothly. The real difference about housing court is, though, Eugene, is that there's a lot of patronage there because you do, unlike another judge, you just hire one bailiff. But the housing court has a lot of people that there's a lot of
jobs over
yeah,
there?
there's a lot of jobs,
When
a lot of
does early
jobs.
voting start? October 7th for
No.
the general.
Is it October 7th?
October 7th.
I thought it was
that's when it
October 9th.
starts.
Okay,
October.
it's October. Yes.
Talking to Mike, Eugene.
October 7th, or we'll find out the correct date. But you still got 30 days
Yes.
to go vote, request a ballot.
Yes.
And back to this race with that, the sitting judge there is Monet Scott. She's sitting there. She's the person in that seat. That's going to be a contested race with Cheryl Wilshire, who's running against her. They didn't have a primary. That's an example of what we're talking about now. There's no primary in that particular race. That race will be decided in November as well.
When there's ever 2 candidates, there's only 2 candidates. That causes you to only have. That's not true with the judicial self. I shouldn't say that. In judicial races, there's never a primary.
There's never a primary.
There's never a
Matter of
primary.
fact,
So let me correct myself on that.
Let's go on into that while you're talking about it.
Yeah.
We got some judicial races that's coming up in November. Also, we got the
Brett Horton race.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a lot of. I don't want to say candidates' names.
You can say names, but we can't. We're not support. You can't say you support.
Oh,
anybody.
okay.
Yeah, so we can talk about the
So
races.
Brett Horton is the Democrat in that race, and there's Nikki Giovanni, I think is her name, is in that race. Then there's Insong Loving and Heather.
Ensign don't have a.
Yes, she does.
Oh, she had
Heather.
McLaughlin.
Heather McCullough.
Yeah,
Heather McCullough is her
yeah.
running against her. And then there is
TJ Dowell.
TJ Dowell and Kalia Lawson. Those are there's 4 races, housing court in those 3. And that's all of them are in November.
They get up-to-date information. The close of registration for the general is October 6th.
That's what I thought.
Early voting starts October 7th. So
okay.
that means you have from October 7th to November 4th to go vote early, in person or mail-in ballot.
Right. And I wish that we could. Well, that's the way it is. That's the way it is.
And on the city line, we also got the mayor has a race coming up in November also.
Yeah, we were just talking about, me and the DJ, we were just talking about races, and that's just going to be a wipeout. You know, we can't talk about victory. That's a wipeout. We not going.
There's no
y'all not going to even give
no
place.
Yeah, the mayor don't want. We ain't
goodness.
talking about. I ain't worried about that.
Yeah,
he don't want.
He's
that.
gonna be the mayor.
But we got some highly contested races coming. You got
Ward 10.
Ward 10s coming up, and we got some big
Y'all
races.
just hold on.
Yeah.
Y'all not gonna give.
We just talk about boxing. That ain't
y'all
no-
said that ain't even worth even mentioning. Y'all
No.
gave that all like 30
Yeah,
seconds.
sorry. The mayor don't want his re-election campaign. You know?
Jeez.
Already did speeches on
No, you remember years ago. When Mayor Jackson had a contender. His contender. His name was Ken Lancy.
Oh yeah.
Y'all remember that?
Oh, but that was a race.
Yeah.
That was a race.
Man,
Ken spent some money.
He
He
spent some
did,
money.
but
He spent some money.
Yeah, but it wasn't no race.
This is
The numbers didn't make it. But
what
I'm
I'm
just
saying.
saying.
He did
but
spend some
he
money.
made it a race.
He
He put
like-
pressure on.
He put the pressure on.
No, this is
Somebody
like the
gotta put pressure
84
on.
election with President Reagan. He won
Y'all
all
know what
49
happened.
states, 49 out of 50.
Who?
In 84 with President Reagan. He won 49 out of
did?
50 states. President Reagan.
Okay, yeah, I was talking about Ken Lancy. What
I'm
you
just using
talking
that for
about?
example. That's how it's going to be with Mayor
Oh,
Bibb.
what Mayor
He'll
Bibb?
win
Oh, okay, I
every-
didn't know where he was going with
Yeah,
that.
he
Okay.
ain't going to lose none of those places.
No, he's not going.
He's won.
And I don't think he should lose. I think we need to give him an opportunity.
Who he gonna lose to? Y'all just said it. Ain't
Well, no,
nobody.
I think
How can he
no,
lose?
I think that's why there's no one a credible person
Okay.
running against him because
Okay.
of the job that he's doing and giving him an opportunity.
Yeah,
It's
he got
kinda-
a chance.
There are other folks.
He got a lifeline.
It's tough to beat him right now.
Yeah, there's a lot, and there are people who are interested in becoming the next mayor of the city of Cleveland, but they don't want to run against this mayor because he's doing a good job. Things are being turned around, and we need to give him an opportunity. And that's from somebody who did not support him 4 years
If
ago.
you that bar owner down in the flats, you pissed with city right now.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Of course.
Ooh,
Of course. I don't. And I would.
let's stay on that topic.
But that doesn't.
As a business
I
man,
agree.
We got
I agree.
5 minutes.
Oh,
to
yeah.
talk about
So
that topic.
we got 5 minutes. I want to do 2 things.
Okay.
5 minutes.
Because
to
we're
talk
going
about
to stay on this election stuff, then we're going to end on what's going on in the
Or you
flat.
got 10 minutes, however you want to do it.
As a businessman,
this-
I'll be
this-
about
upset.
8 minutes. Got 8 minutes.
We got 8 minutes. So let's do this.
Go,
The
Keith.
last race we got was this big race coming up. Is going to be the Anthony Harrison, Michael Polisic race in Ward 10.
Huge.
That's going to be a huge race there.
huge.
I want to also go out on saying that one is another one that I'm highly disappointed in the outcomes on that one. That one was one that I know that Councilman Polisic had talked to others in regards that he wasn't running. And I'm a huge supporter of all the guys in council, and I like Anthony Harrison, grew up and knew his family a lot, and his family and I went to school together in that, and I know that he was really anticipating him not running. And part of that discussion of them dividing up the ward and all of that was anticipating this guy not running, and for him to come back out and say, oh, I changed my mind because I ain't got nothing to do, or the people want me, even though he done retired twice, and that kind of thing. Is you'll think he'll find something to do. I think it's really shameful. And I'm just speaking on the fact that I like speaking on black liberation, and I also like speaking on African American males. I just think it's really, really hard for me to see how we can let a situation like that, a young brother who has raising his family in that community, doing what he's doing, running against a 50-year incumbent. That's going to be a tough race. Mike Polisic isn't no easy
race.
guy to win, and he knows all the tricks of the trade. I'm a witness of that, and I'm trying to tell y'all that getting into that one, that's going to be a tough race. And so that's one we're going to have to keep our eyes and ears on to watch, because I think it's something to say when you say you're going to do one thing and then do something other, is why people are not voting Cristals, because they get tired of this, what we call mealy mouth people saying one thing and doing something else. Go ahead, Gene.
96% of the people still, they just don't care.
They just don't care.
You know,
Just don't care.
They just don't, regardless.
Let me add this to this equation as a pastor, because I think it's all related. People aren't coming to church like they used to. And that's a very true thing. And so because the same people who go to church on a regular basis are usually the same people who are voting, who are engaged in their community. Oh, absolutely.
What about the businessman downtown?
No, it's 2 different things. Going to church is actually going to church. If I didn't go in your church, I can look at you online. I can't look at my vote online. Voting is an action. You have to actually go there, push the button to vote for somebody. I can go sit in your church.
I'm talking about people who participate. I'm not talking about the action
That's participating.
I'm not talking about the action
No,
of
I
going
can
to church.
participate
I'm
by
not talking about
looking at you online. That's participating, Phillips.
No, I'm
And that goes back to your point of saying making
that
it
is
easier.
down, and that is down as well. And if you could vote, now you're making my
No, I
point.
said that
If
goes
you
back
could
to your
vote
point of
online,
making it
if you
easier.
could vote
I get it.
online, so now you're making my point. You go back to what you said it wasn't a good one, but it is
I never said it
absolutely.
wasn't a
You
good
went
one.
right back to it. You should be able to vote online. I really believe that we should make voting more convenient, just like we have made it more convenient to go to church. But there are correlations. There's a lot of the institutions
Let's talk about
are being
Ward
threatened.
10 before we get going, y'all. We was on the Ward 10, Mike Polisic, Anthony Harrison race. Tough race.
Voter turnout.
Voter turnout is what we need there. And how the community should be looking at that race. What do you say, Phillips?
I think that we should be concerned about the balance of power from the African American community and what's happening down at City Hall, especially even with shrinking city council in the first place. So it's an attack on our power as African Americans in this city, and we need to be concerned about that. And even though a person may be in our community who may not look like us, that speaks like us, it's different when that leader is an African American person. And it makes a big difference to me.
All right. So let's talk about what happened over the weekend. There was some shots that took place down there in the flats down there. I believe there was about 5 or 6 people who got 6 people who got shot in there. Was there any fatalities out of that? No, thank God there wasn't no
shooter got injured, got hit a few times, and A young 16-year-old kid got hit, and a couple people in their 20s, a young lady.
They said that they retrieved 40 shell casings as a result of all of that shooting out there. The shootout down there. And so basically one of the things that is coming out now, and we're just looking at what's going on and just bringing it up to date, the owner of the club Play had put out a video, and in the video it shows that the people are actually running towards Play, where his place is, which means that if they were shooting from Play, you'll be running from the fire, not running towards it. So it appears that whatever was happening wasn't happening in there, it was happening outside of there, and it was forcing people to run up his way. And so with that, you know, what's going to be interesting about that, there's a big hoopla online, and folks are really upset saying that the only African-American club that's down there is now closed, and it got closed with such a vigorous
due process.
With no due process.
They boarded that up immediately. And to what you said earlier, there's no due process. There got to be some kind of due process when these things happen. Now, I understand why. Yeah. If I was the mayor and I got a call in the middle of the night that told me that all that stuff just took place. It wasn't in the middle of the night. It was probably around 6.
In the morning?
No, in the evening.
Oh, in the evening.
6 or 7. Okay. The report this happened it happened at Punch Bowl Social. So mind you, where Play is at and where Punch Bowl is at,
around the corner.
That's more than 100 yards away.
That's right.
Almost 150 yards away. Right. So Punch Bowl and Margaritaville, that happened in that area. You have to go past the parking lot.
That's correct.
Up the small hill, get there.
That's
so
correct.
The correlator says because wherever Play was going on, it happened down low. Because it's another spot to have other stuff that's going on too.
Even if Play having a big event, because that's all it could have been.
It was more people downtown. Period.
For the game. They were there for the game, Ken. Mm-hmm. And the people and the guy on the TV for Play said that they were over capacity. The fire marshal was telling people to leave. But we have to wonder, why are all these shell casings found around the Play area? And I think we have to, if I'm the mayor, you got to stop and do something. And you've got to come back and retrieve.
It was around Punch Bowl.
No, where all those that's what the news were reporting, that they found all these.
News was wrong because people were shot at Punch Bowl.
There's that video that I actually seen online where people at Play are ducking because they're ducking because
you don't duck anywhere.
When you pop, you're gonna duck.
You're gonna duck. They can ride down the street shooting guns. Right now, we go all duck. That's the human nature.
I don't duck. I live in the city, and I don't duck all the time because I heard some gunshots.
Okay, man.
I'm saying,
the injured victims were at Punch Bowl. I don't care.
Yeah.
The injured victims was at Punch Bowl.
They got shot at Punch.
They shut down Punch Bowl. They boarded up.
No, that's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. Like where the victims, everything had happened, it was at Punch Bowl. But you saying, well, it was an issue at Play.
How did that happen?
So the city, not just city, but people have a tendency to say, if somebody comes from your bar or whatever happens on the outside is your fault. That's not true. Because once they leave my property, now it's back to the city.
Oh, so they're trying to say that they started in Play.
That's what they're trying to say.
That's what they're trying to say. They're trying to say it started in Play and worked its way down the street to that.
That's what they're trying to say.
And as a result of that, because it happened in you, I got it. That's that part we talk about the due process.
I know y'all getting ready to close, but still, that number hasn't changed. 4% turnout, 96% of people still at home, and Ward 8 almost at 200 people. Almost.
There we go, y'all. That is it. That's our election edition of Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell and Dr. Heather E. Burton. I want to thank my hosts for coming on, DJ Cristals for working the boards for us today, Councilman Aaron Phillips, Councilman Eugene Miller, and Pastor Aaron Phillips and DJ True. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Welcome to CQ. D-Nice.